running up the score.
You're listening to the Running Up the Score podcast. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
One team that I want to talk about, the Buffalo Bills. What's wrong with them? Are they going to miss the playoffs this year? Because they're not playing like they did last year, and it's a little scary if you're coming from a Buffalo Bills fan. You know, it's really scary, to be honest with you, especially now with Josh Allen potentially hurt.
Well, what it comes down to with the Buffalo Bills is that obviously they dealt with a big injury to Tre'Davious White. He's one of the best cornerbacks in football. It's a big loss.
Yeah, what did I call him? Legarius Wright or something like that?
Yeah, one time. I don't even know. I just kept moving on with the conversation and the podcast at that point. But honestly,
I don't know where I got that from either.
When it comes to the Bills and the struggles they have, it's similar to what I explained to you earlier with someone like Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen's been doing something similar. Now, Allen's decision-making has been incredible at times, and there's no doubt about it. Josh Allen has been a great player. But there are times where this man's decisions are questionable, absolutely. And these haven't been the best of defenses that he's been playing. Obviously, you give credit to certain ones, but Josh Allen is having a very hard time getting the balls to his playmakers. Don't get me wrong, he is spreading the ball out really well. But the most success comes from the teams that stick to the best players that they have. We talk about Urban Meyer might potentially have been fired based on the fact that James Robinson didn't play enough.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best players that Jacksonville has to offer. Well, Stephon Diggs is one of the best players you have to offer. And I don't see a growing to his game at all this year. It has been questionable, to say the least.
Well, it's a huge difference from last year. It's a
big
drop
and don't get me wrong. Obviously, guys like Dawson Knox are emerging, and having someone like Emmanuel Sanders also helps. But, Sanders was out last week. Diggs had a decent role. Nothing to what I was expecting. But when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, the decision-making, just like I talked about with Patrick Mahomes, and now I'm a big fan of Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen, it took me some time, but he played great last year, and I was a big fan of Allen. He played amazing last year, just like the way Mahomes had been 2 years, 3 years prior. Just an incredible outing. A lot of touchdowns, no interceptions, good decisions, good choices to run the football, when not to run with the football, slide, get out of bounds, make sure not get hurt, all this kind of stuff, prevent sacks, all this stuff. But now I see Josh Allen throwing these throws, and they're tough throws to make. And they've led to interceptions at times. And these are bad decisions that you don't realize that you need to win the turnover battle above everything else. You go look at the numbers all time in the NFL when it comes to turnovers, as opposed to winning a football game, the turnover battle.
Oh, yeah.
It will go hand in hand forever.
Yeah.
No matter how long this game gets played for. And for the Buffalo Bills, you have to win that in order to win games like that. You got a defense that's been playing subpar at this point. They were expected to be dominant. Obviously, losing White was a big problem. But then you look on the other side of the football, and you're watching this team. I'm telling you right now, their running game is absolutely non-existent. I am so sorry. I'm hitting wires and stuff just to show the frustration as to how much they aren't running the football.
No,
I've been talking this entire show about how important it is to run the football as opposed to success in the NFL.
I think that's one thing that they need to.
Well, that's a big problem that Josh Allen's dealing with. Josh Allen is dealing with pass rushes that these teams know you're throwing the football because your running game is getting you 1 or 2 yards every single down. Ask the New York Jets. They're in the same predicament. You have to be able to run the football to have success offensively in this league. Well, I don't care who you are. You could be the almighty Tom Brady. Tom Brady will be the first one to tell you how important it is to run the football. Right now, Josh Allen, no running game. I'm not putting all the blame on him. There's no reason to. He's been great. He has been great. His decisions are great. He has been a superb player for them. And honestly, a steal where they got him in the draft that year.
Well, yeah, it's not really – it's nothing against him. You
just got to be able to run the football better.
He's had an off season. But, I mean, a lot of that, basically, I don't know, how could we say it? A lot of this, flack that we're putting on him has a lot to do with how perfect of a season he had last year. We're looking at how perfect of a season he had last year, and we're like, all right, this is what we're expecting for the rest of his career, and that's hard to. That's a hard ask for someone like him.
Well, the truth is that they couldn't run the football last year either, and he just did some incredible things to get that team where they needed to be. Obviously,
but again,
he's not
perfect.
But he's not perfect. Superman.
No,
he
he's
is not Superman. There's no Superman in the NFL. There really isn't. You need to be able to run the football. Yeah, exactly. But even he'll tell you need to run the ball.
Of course.
I mean, Strahan had a field day with this guy a couple of years ago because he knew they knew they were going to run the football. Yeah. And when you know a team's going to run. I mean, when you know a team's going to pass the football all game long, that doesn't work here.
No.
Yeah, maybe you'll get the big play here and there, but odds are you're going to throw an interception before someone's going to sack fumble you before that big play happens. So you really do need to be careful when throwing the football in the NFL. Every single one of these teams in the NFL right now will tell you the same thing. Every head coach will tell you the same thing.
Yeah. So, I'll ask you real quick: the Bills going to make the playoffs?
Yes, but they're not going to be a threat.
I don't think so either.
For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.